This is a very interesting conversation right here. I really don't even be motivated to post YouTube videos like that, but this is something that I really have to speak on. Trenches News is the epitome of what you call a street blogger. Street bloggers chronicle real street stories, real shootouts, real gang warfare. They identify the combatants. They identify the gangs. Instead of just hearing the word gang, they break it down so that you understand the individuals. It's going to be this dude, that dude, that dude. This dude is a leader. This dude kills people. This dude got into it with this guy and killed this guy. So we're in a world now where we have so much access to information. And of course that means we have access to illegal information about illegal crimes and underground communities and stuff like that. You know, it's just like the mafia. Back in the old days, in the 50s, 40s, 30s, Lucky Luciano days, nobody knew anything about the mafia. Then Joe Velati testified to Congress and he told them everything, you know, from how you get initiated into La Cosa Nostra. And then from that point on, the FBI installed informants into every family. And what they did was, they would report information about the mafia's activities in general. And the FBI benefited from that culmination, that collection of information. Once the information, it's not about, okay, we got to solve this individual crime. We got to figure out what happened in this individual instance. No, it's all about the longevity of the information. Greg Scarpa, he was in the Colombo family for 50 years, and he was their coldest killer. He probably had about 50 bodies under his belt. He was getting paid by the FBI hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and he would give information on all 5 families. He would give information such as when Joe Colombo got killed, he'd break it down. Okay, as soon as Joey Galloway got out of jail, he linked up with the blacks. He's been beefing with Colombo because he wanted, he's been in jail. He felt like he should have been the boss of the family. He's been beefy. He's always been a problem with the family since, since the family had that other name. Because the Colombo family used to be called something else, and then it got renamed. Gallows have always been a problem, always been rebellious. And he broke the information down to the FBI. Did the FBI go and lock up Joey Galloway? No. Joey Gallo? No. They killed, he got killed in a restaurant as a retaliatory tactic. And Greg Scarpa told the FBI he was going to get killed. And that Carmine Persico was in position to take over the family, and he was going to eliminate Joey Gallo. Simply because Joey Gallo has been speculated to take out their boss Colombo at the Italian civil rights thing. So the FBI benefits from the collectiveness of the information. The information builds and builds, and then now they understand how your organization works. It's like you're feeding artificial intelligence. Like if you want to teach AI how to be a human being, you have to feed it information about human beings over the long term. Then after years and years, the AI understands on its own. Now the FBI understands on its own because these informants are implanted not to get convictions but to give information. Underground communities are hard to penetrate. So don't think that Trenches News is the only one out there like this. And it brings up a lot of situations. What should the police do when there's a shootout in the hood? Should the police go into that situation? Because the police are not always well trained. You got some police officers who are not well trained at all, and they don't know how to operate in a shootout. They might be so inexperienced that they get killed in a shootout. You got some officers who know how to move like special ops. You know what I mean? You get a 21-year-old law enforcement officer going to the hood, responding to shots fired. The combatants who are shooting these shots are using fully automatic weapons. They're shooting out 60 bullets in 1 minute. And you got a cop with a Glock that's shooting out 1 bullet at a time. He might have 15 in his clip. And he's probably scared. He's been trained, but he's never been in a real shootout before. And now he has to go to the hood. And he has to fix the situation between these two gangs that are trying to kill each other. Okay? So would you go into that situation? like Superman and say, hey, these two gangs are shooting each other with high-powered ammunition, high-powered rifles, AR-15s. They got Glocks that have been converted into fully automatic weapons. I'm going into the neighborhood and I'm going to stop this shootout. You know what I mean? What do you feel about the violence? You feel like law enforcement is wrong because they're not stepping up to the plate and and stopping these shootouts and putting their lives on the line? You think they're that trained that they can just stop a shootout? They can just stop people from getting killed with their little pistols? You know? Or do you think they're scared and they rather the streets clean themselves out? If you're tired of the violence, you're tired of people killing each other, you're tired of seeing these young black brothers getting hit with these bullets, and these bullets are not meant to even come in contact with human skin. When you see somebody at the firing range, the gun range, and these high-powered weapons are being shot, imagine that going into the skin of a 16-year-old black boy, and how disfigured he's going to become as a result of those gunshots. He's going to get put down like a dog. So if you're tired of the violence, you either have to say, hey, we're going to let these guys kill each other and clean, and we're just going to let the streets self-clean themselves, you know, purge themselves out. Because if you think law enforcement is going to send a bunch of 20-year-old white guys, Asian guys, black guys, Asian women, you know, all these young people that work for law enforcement, you think they're going to come into these communities and stop these shootouts? You're wrong, because a lot of them are not even that well trained. It takes years and years before a police officer is able to handle themselves in a shootout. I mean, you can go on the internet and watch videos of law enforcement making all kinds of mistakes in shootouts and getting themselves killed. So, yeah, the police are not superheroes. They can't stop anything. And as far as snitching, if you got somebody like Trench's News, I understand. The part that everybody's mad about is he was an informant for 10 years prior to becoming a witness in this FPG duck trial. So while he was actively committing crimes, he was snitching on people. So that's wrong. I do agree with that. But as far as now, he's a civilian, and you know, if he were a civilian 100% of the way, then I'd understand. So I understand why people are upset with him. But you got to ask yourself these questions. Is he wrong? Because when a murder happens, when somebody gets their head blown off, a little 18-year-old young boy gets smoked, shot in the head, and then when the dust settles, everybody's crying, the news cameras come. A young black male was murdered, shot 3 times in the head. Tashawn Bailey from the such and such neighborhood was a school student, and yesterday at 3 p.m., somebody came with an AK-47 and shot him 10 times in the head. And he's disfigured. And I don't know if you ever seen somebody get killed before, but they don't even look like real people. They look like mannequins. They look unreal. So, with all this violence going on in the hood, to me, the worst thing in the world is not an informant. It's a whole lot of factors. The police are going to allow these young guys to just wipe each other out because they're scared to lose their young people. Because they know their young people they're not trained enough to stop these shootouts. If the violence happens in a high-profile area, they'll intervene. But as far as hood violence, they're going to let you purge yourselves. So then that leaves us to our own devices. The police don't care about us. So what are we going to do? We're going to get mad at Trench's News for reporting information to the FBI that's going to get killers out of our neighborhoods? Or are we going to say, hey, we're just going to live with the violence? We're going to continue to have our kids get their heads blown off, and we're just going to figure it out one day. And we're just going to vilify guys like this and make him the Antichrist. But is he really the Antichrist? Peace.